News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
4:05 now on this beautiful Friday afternoon, as we have just a few minutes left until the weekend is officially here. And we'll feel right with our top local stories as we begin KVNU For the People show. Well, investor Kevin O'Leary is facing some pushback now over what he calls the Wonder Valley. It's a proposed hyperscale data center spanning 62 square miles in Box Elder County. Now known as the Stratus Project, the massive facility would consume more than twice of Utah's current average electricity. Now, the Military Installation Development Authority says the project, though, would be powered by natural gas rather than the state's existing grid. Now, proponents estimate that it could create 2,000 permanent jobs and generate $250 million annually for the state. However, the proposal has sparked significant local concern. Residents are primarily worried about the environmental impact, citing potential issues with emissions, noise, wildlife disruption, and also heavy water usage amid the ongoing drought here in the West. Now, a public meeting to discuss the project is scheduled to take place on Monday at 4 o'clock at the Box Elder County Fairgrounds in Tremonton. Meanwhile, reality TV star Taylor Frankie Paul and her partner Dakota Mortensen appeared in a Utah courtroom yesterday seeking long-term protective orders against each other amid a contentious custody battle over their 2-year-old son. Now, the hearing featured conflicting accounts from attorneys regarding 11 alleged physical altercations, with each side accusing the other of domestic violence. Now, currently, Paul is barred from unsupervised visits with her son due to a history of volatile behavior. Now, a recently leaked 2023 video showing Paul physically attacking Mortensen had led to ABC shelving her season of The Bachelorette and also prompted a temporary production pause on Hulu's The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Now, Paul, meanwhile, remains on probation for a 2023 assault conviction stemming from that incident, though prosecutors recently declined to file new charges. And finally, a USA climbing coach was arrested earlier this week in Utah following an investigation into suspected child sexual abuse material. Now, Matthew Madison was booked into the Summit County Jail on 10 counts of second-degree felony sexual exploitation of a minor. Now, USA Climbing immediately placed Madison, who had served as a strength and conditioning coach and speed team manager, on unpaid administrative leave. Now, according to court documents, a social media company had alerted the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children back in March about an account uploading illicit material. Now, the account was traced to Madison, prompting a search back in April of his Summit County home. Investigators reportedly said they found a large amount of child sexual abuse material on his devices, and Madison allegedly admitted to owning the account in question. Now, USA Climbing issued a statement emphasizing that athlete safety is its highest priority, noting that the allegations appear unrelated to his coaching duties and that the organization was fully cooperating with law enforcement. Well, we're going to enjoy a really nice forecast over the next couple of days as this sunshine weather is expected to continue into the weekend, as we've been in the mid-60s today. Tomorrow, low 70s for Saturday, mid-70s by Sunday, with overnight temperatures gradually warming back up into the low 40s. We do have a chance of some showers, though. Looks like that's headed our way on Monday. And KVNU News Time is now 4:08 as we begin KVNU's For the People show with Jason Williams. I'll have another check of local news coming up at the bottom of the hour. For KVNU, I'm Will Feelright.
This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance, and we are now Alera Group. This is great news for you. Now you have more choices and strength of a top national broker in your corner with our local personal service. Every situation is unique. Now we can tailor coverages from deductibles and limits to risk management, so it fits you even better. Let's compare options and tighten your program. Same friendly faces, same local office. Call 435-752-0101.
Sean Hannity from 1 till 4 on News Talk KVNU 102 FM and 610 AM.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Are you on your feet a lot? When traveling, do you find yourself sitting for long periods of time? Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical, and we have compression stockings that can help you. Our compression stockings are designed to improve circulation, reduce swelling, and provide unmatched comfort. Come check out all the different styles and fabrics. These aren't your great-grandparents' compression stockings. That's why we're excited to offer an amazing deal. Buy 3 pairs of compression stockings and get a free care kit. That's right, 3 pairs of compression stockings and get a free care kit. Come into any of our 11 locations and invest in your health this winter by embracing the benefits of compression. For more details, visit us at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency. So we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM, online at 610kvnu.com, and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Friday, May 1st. I'm Jason Williams. Star Wars nerds, we're going to do it, but the 4th isn't until Monday, so hold off. Cinco de Mayo being celebrated here in Cache Valley tomorrow, though, on Saturday at the Cache County Fairgrounds. And that throws things off a bit of, with the 5th actually being Tuesday, but it is what it is. I hope everybody, the weather should be great for that, by the way. I'm going to get out and check it out because the food is always amazing. And that is, I don't know, it feels like the summer activity season just started about a month early this year. I'm not complaining, just noting it. So pretty excited about that. Monday on the program, well, a couple of things. First off, Monday, I'm actually going to give you a recap of everything that we've learned so far about the data center proposal, the Stratus project, as they're calling it, in Box Elder County. And the reason for that is Monday, during our show, from 4 o'clock until, I don't really know how long this is going to go, but it starts at 4 at the Fine Arts Center in Box Elder County at the Box Elder County Fairgrounds in Tremont. There is a public meeting over this. And this just keeps getting bigger and bigger as far as the public opposition goes. This started, for those who haven't followed this story, it started Monday with a report in the Salt Lake Tribune of more than 80 people showing up in the morning in the rain to pack and overpack out into the hallways the commission meeting site for the county commissioners in Box Elder County. And the reason for this is they were going to be discussing moving ahead on this data center proposal. 42,000 some odd acres. They are talking about building as a promise, as part of this project. The promise has been that it won't sap 1 electron. That was the quote from Utah's grid, because concerns over power consumption and additional emissions that come from that, of course, were part of what was expressed by Box Elder residents on Monday. Among many other things, water usage concerns. Is this the best use of this land? What about light pollution in an area that is still one of the dark sky areas of Utah at nights? And we're running out of those, by the way, in northern Utah. A lot of legitimate concerns, I think, were expressed by residents. This wasn't just NIMBYism. This wasn't just, I don't want it near me. Legitimate concerns about water that would go to the Great Salt Lake instead being sucked up and evaporated by turbines in this data center. They're going to construct a natural gas-powered 9-gigawatt power plant, basically, inside this data center to run it. Now, this is known as a hyperscale project, which means it's going to be leased by the big ones, Amazon, Google. They're promising thousands of jobs, and residents raise concerns about that as well. Are we talking thousands of jobs to construct it, and then it drops back down to 100, like some of the other big data centers we've seen in Nevada and other places? Or are we talking permanent jobs? And an answer hasn't come on that one yet. I looked, by the way, some of the smaller data centers here in Utah have a total staff, permanent job total of 20 people. Now, I'm assuming this one will be larger than that as far as permanent jobs. But if it's only 100, 150, that's not nothing in Box Elder County, where they're looking to bring in every job they can as they grow. So that's not nothing, but 150 jobs. When the number's that low, if that's what it comes in at, permanent jobs wise, you do have to start looking at some of these trade-offs, exchanges. And personally, I think people need to be paying more attention to the tax incentives in this as well, because everyone involved here is wealthy, and there's one of the incentives in this is about 80% of the revenue collected goes back to the private company that operates it, not the state or the county. This is a sweet deal. Now, again, data centers are going to be built somewhere, right? And they're going to employ people somewhere. That's also, I think, fair to include here. So that's kind of where we're at. Salt Lake Tribune reporting today, they did some digging into the Utah Division of Water Resources and looked at applications for permits and things like that. And they're showing that over 400 complaints have been submitted by residents all along the Wasatch Front to this project and its location. Being upstream from the Great Salt Lake basically is what's attracting the most attention. So again, a lot of unknowns. On Monday at 4 o'clock, the public is invited, and this isn't just for Box Elder County residents, but I'm telling you, I'm guessing this is going to be a packed fine arts center there at the Box Elder County Fairgrounds. So 4 o'clock on Monday is when that happens. During our show, we'll actually have a recording that will be made available to us. We'll get highlights on Tuesday's show. But I just wanted to throw that out to remind everyone, because starting today's show, before we get to the For the People movie show at 5, an update on the drought from the governor and more. During the governor's monthly news conference yesterday, this data center came up. Again, this was not on anyone's radar until yesterday, or until Monday, when this public meeting, or this commissioners meeting, got overwhelmed by the public there to speak in opposition to the project in Box Elder County. Once it was on everyone's radar, of course, everyone started asking questions, and it came up. Brian Mulahey of KUTV News asked the governor about the public pushback on this, and one of the claims that was coming from the public Monday morning when they spoke to Box Elder County commissioners was that this project had kind of been hidden, lack of transparency around the whole thing, and public information and public buy-in, and that it was being rushed. Mulahey asked Governor Cox, do you feel this project is being rushed? And here's what the governor had to say.
Yeah, so we've had a few discussions for sure. What I can say is that the discussions have been very positive. Let me back up a little bit and just talk generally about data centers. We've had data centers in this state for a long time. I've been pretty neutral on data centers. I think they're important, but they're not the number one source of economic development for our state by any means, and shouldn't be. Look, we're living through a very interesting time right now. There was an article I read yesterday that said that this is very similar to kind of the nuclear arms race, the nuclear era, 60, 70, 80 years ago. Very different than anything that we've experienced in the past several decades. And there is a national security piece to this that has to be acknowledged. The rate at which machine learning and artificial intelligence is changing, the dangers that poses, and what happens if an adversarial nation gets ahead of us in this space is something that we should all be worried about. And so we have an obligation. I think every state has an obligation when it comes to this space to allow for these types of data centers to be built in their states. We have to do this. We can't just say no and shut the doors and go home and let China win this technology race. So that just can't be an option. And so we have to do this smart. We have to do it in the right places and in the right way. We should not have data centers everywhere, and we should be very careful with our resources. And so those are the conversations that have been had. Unfortunately, there's a lot of really bad information out there there about data centers. People are operating off of models and technologies that have changed drastically over the past few years, especially when it comes to water usage. That's one where the numbers are just wrong. There was also a report about warming around data centers that was also deeply flawed, and immediately found out that it's deeply flawed. But everybody just believes it now that data centers use all the water and destroy everything around them, and that's just not true. And so we're going to have these in our country, and we're going to have some of these in our state. And so the question is, again, where do we put them, and how do we do this in the best way? This is a location where they have water available. It's not taking additional water away from the Great Salt Lake. It's taking water that would be used for other things and using it for a different purpose now. And we have air quality standards that we have to abide by, that they have to abide by. And here's where Utah is really shining. We did something different than other states, and that is we said we're not going to allow these data centers to take all of our power, which will significantly increase the power consumption and the power rates for the people of our state. We're not going to allow that to happen. Again, this is the bad information that keeps getting put out there. So these companies, if and when they decide to build, they're going to have to build their own power supplies. And ultimately, that's good for our state because they're going to put power back on the grid, which will help us keep our power rates lower than anywhere else in the country. And so, look, I understand the concern that people have. I have concerns about where we're putting these and when we're putting these. But this is one where we've had conversations recently. Again, this is going through MIDA, so it's a quasi state entity, but I don't have control over that entity. I think I appoint one person to that entity, and so we want to we want to make sure that they're doing it the right way, and this is one that I think is going to help our country long term, and that's something that we all have to be a part of. I do. Yes.
And to the concerns that it has been rushed, what do you say?
Well, what I can say again is MIDA has a process that they go through and hearings that they go through, and people have had a chance to provide feedback. This whole idea of being rushed, I'm so tired of our country taking years to get stuff done. It's the dumbest thing ever. We think that taking time makes things better or safer. It absolutely does not. You get a chance to give your feedback, and then decisions get made. That's how we have to do stuff in this country and in this state. People have a chance. We're hearing from them. They're hearing from them. Again, I don't get to make this decision, but the decision makers will take into account the feedback that they receive, and then they'll make a decision, and then we move forward. We've let the people against virtually everything destroy our country, destroy our industrial base, destroy our mining base, destroy our housing base, because we can't build anything in this country anymore. And those days are over. We're done with that. We take feedback. We understand what people want. We say no to many things because there is good feedback, but we can't say no to everything. And this is in a place where it's built for something like this. If you go out there, it's not next to somebody's house where people are going to get angry because it's in their neighborhood. It's right next to a natural gas pipeline, so they can build their own energy. It's not going to. I mean, it's just. I don't know if you can't put this here, then we can't put them anywhere, and that's part of the frustration that I think people are feeling.
Governor, are you concerned about the potential emissions that this project may have?
I already said that. I already said yes. You have to meet the air quality standards. Period.
Governor, back to Justice Hagan.
Again,
Saturday.
that was a conversation that happened during the Governor's Monthly News Conference yesterday. And if you'll notice there, this portion of the Governor's News Conference yesterday, he never really answers the question, do you feel this has been rushed? And that is, my understanding, that is one of the primary concerns of Box Elder County residents. He mentions that there was an opportunity for residents to give feedback before. Yes, there was a Wednesday council meeting where there was a bit of a discussion. Come on, Governor. Amita, everyone involved here, that's not enough. He knows as well as I do, as you do, that a project of this size with the potential costs, again, he's right, the technology has changed. There are ways to build these huge data centers that are not noisy, that don't contribute to light pollution, that don't really, obviously it's going to be producing emissions that are going to go into our air and end up right here in Cache Valley. We know that, right? It's going to contribute to winter inversions when the pollution gets trapped. It's going to, we know that. But there are ways to do this in which the governor is right. It's not really polluting any more than we already would have been. Which, I mean, if that's our goal and that's the highest goal we can set, great. I kind of think we can set higher goals than that, but that's a conversation for another day. What the governor is saying is not incorrect. He says nothing incorrect. What he leaves out is frustrating. Because, and this is a broader issue. He's right. The governor and the legislature do not control META. META is a quasi-military agency. Every state is required to have an entity like this. It is created by the legislature, but as the governor said, he gets to appoint one person. Everyone else comes from the Pentagon. And this is all part of long-term military readiness planning. States generally try not to say no to that for good reason. And META has a track record of being pretty responsible in this planning. But for the governor to say, look, you had your opportunity to go to a council meeting and stand up to the microphone during the public comment period. So what are you complaining about? This is going to happen. It's an unfortunate way for the governor to respond to this because this is a big project. This is a huge change for Box Elder County. And again, I'm not saying it's bad. I don't know that it's bad. I know that the concerns residents have raised are legitimate and should not be so easily dismissed as the governor has done and as others have done. But he's not incorrect, is what I'm trying to say. Nothing dishonest came out of the governor's mouth. All of that should be considered and factored in by everyone in opposition to this. It can be done. It can be done smartly. It can be done safely. It can be done in respect to the community, to the dark skies that people still enjoy out there in that area of Box Elder County without wasting water. Many of these data centers, when they were first built, would use so much water that it was just insane. And then that water was basically evaporated into steam. And steam, of course, ends up back in the system somehow, but it's taken out of that local area for sure. And we're trying to save the Great Salt Lake. And everyone agrees that's urgent. But there are ways to do this in which the water is in a closed loop system, meaning the water doesn't evaporate and go away. It evaporates and that evaporation is collected and the condensation is collected. It's put back into the system. And, every once in a while they have to add a little more to it. And by the way, for those not familiar, the water is used to cool these massive processors. And I mean massive in scale of activity. They're actually small for what they do. Well, I mean, they're the size of a diesel generator, but they're not tiny. But for what they do, they're actually quite small, but they need to be cooled. They produce an insane amount of heat. And they need to be cooled by water. And then that water is then superheated, and it has to be cooled back down. So there's a lot of energy that goes into this whole process. So again, the governor's right. It can be done smartly. It can be done safely. It can be done with respect to the environment, to light pollution concerns, noise pollution concerns. It can even be done in a way that doesn't necessarily ugly up the place. All of that is correct. And he's also correct that, these are going to be built somewhere. This is obviously something the military is pushing for. For those who are maybe not fans of the current president, let me tell you, this goes back into the Biden presidency. This has been on the radar of the military and the basically the new arms race, as the governor put it, that is AI and data processing oriented, is something that is now about 10 years old. It's just speeding up this year. So this bypasses any particular administration, political party in power or not, and it's a reality. The governor is correct, but one more time, to say, hey, you had your chance to weigh in, Box Elder residents, and you did, and it's happening anyway, and suck it up, basically, was kind of what the governor said. Unfortunate way to respond to this. Their concerns are legitimate. A chance to weigh in at a council meeting or a commission meeting, not enough. This is a project where decision makers need to realize you need public buy-in. And you're not going to get it ever 100%. I mean, oftentimes people are so hesitant to change, you can't even build townhomes in your area, which is also a thing we need to be doing. So I get it. And as an elected official, I'd probably get kind of frustrated about what's known as NIMBYism. Yeah, everyone agrees we need to build housing. No one wants it next to them. Well, it's got to go somewhere. Same thing applies, the governor is saying, to data centers. But you need to get the public buy-in, or at least try. You need to make a good faith effort. There should have been already public hearings on this. There should have been opportunities for people to actually sit down and talk about nothing but this, not just have it on the agenda at a council meeting or a commission meeting. And I'm not trying to point the finger here at Box Elder County. I feel like they're over a barrel. Commissioners there, the city councils, all of the county government. When META comes in and said this is a military thing, we want this project to happen. We've worked with the developer. Here's the plan. Now you need to go through the process to do the proper local permitting to make it a thing. Generally, you don't say no, but I think it's reasonable, the concerns that residents in Box Elder County have raised, and they shouldn't be dismissed. And I don't think the governor meant to dismiss them in his comments yesterday. I think what he's trying to say is something he said many times over, that we can't be opposed to everything. Stuff's got to get built. Progress has to happen or we fall behind. We've seen it on solar panels. This is a huge industry that could have been like the gigantic resurgence in manufacturing in the U.S. Around metals in general and metal manufacturing that led to, the entire history of the city of Pittsburgh is centered around this. And they have some cool museums, by the way. Solar panels could have been that, but everyone, it became a political thing and everyone was opposed to them. And well, now they're all made in China and not here. And that's further hurting places like Vernal as coal mining, bottoms out or has bottomed out. They could have converted a lot of these facilities in Vernal to, and they tried to, but they just weren't fast enough, and kept a lot of people working there, manufacturing and even training to install solar panels. It became a political football. It didn't happen. So progress has to happen. Nuclear energy. I mean, that's a whole other can of worms that I won't open here today, but that needs to happen. It's just, and I agree with the governor. We can do it smartly, but you can't dismiss these concerns that residents in Box Elder are expressing, and to try and do this without, a proper process, a respectful process of public engagement, and at least trying to get public buy-in on this is the wrong way to go about it. And so hats off to Box Elder County, by the way. They turned the wheel on that one. As soon as residents showed up Monday and showed they were paying attention and showed there was opposition, the first thing the commissioners did, they voted to schedule a public hearing. And, hats off on them. So, and we'll have highlights for that, from that public hearing as well on tomorrow's show. For now, we'll move on from the data center, for the time being, at least. I don't know. The news on this has come so fast this week. There might be something before the end of the hour. But the governor also addressed the drought. We are in one, to put it mildly, and it's a significant one. So how do things look statewide? What are we looking at wildfire season-wise and more? The governor talked about it all at his monthly news conference yesterday. That highlight for you right after this look at the local headlines with KVNU's Will Feel Right.
Well, thanks, Jason. Utah State University is celebrating its 139th commencement this week, conferring 7,101 degrees and certificates to 6,335 students. Now, the main ceremony, of course, kicked off on Wednesday night at the D. Glenn Smith Spectrum and featured a keynote address from USU Hall of Famer and NFL All-Pro linebacker Bobby Wagner. Now, Wagner, along with three others, also received an honorary degree. Now, college convocations and hooding ceremonies began yesterday and have continued today. University officials said altogether, this year's class features students from 49 states, 46 countries, with birth years ranging from 1933 to 2008. Now, economics and social work continue to be the university's most popular undergraduate and graduate degrees, respectively. In other news, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has declared 13 primary counties now in Utah as natural disaster areas due to record-breaking drought conditions, opening the door now for emergency relief for local farmers. Now, the primary counties designated for relief include most central and southern counties. Now, according to the U.S. Drought Monitor, these regions have suffered from severe to exceptional drought conditions during the growing season. Now, several other counties in Utah and neighboring states are also eligible for assistance. Now, the declaration allows agricultural producers in these areas to access emergency loans through the Farm Service Agency. These funds can be used for essential needs, including purchasing equipment or livestock, reorganizing operations, or refinancing debts. Now, the move comes as much of the state continues to face extreme drought, with conditions rapidly worsening in recent weeks. And an initiative seeking to repeal Utah's Proposition 4 failed to qualify officially for the November ballot after falling short of the geographic signature requirements. Now, Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson made that announcement yesterday. The petition altogether had gathered over 161,961 valid signatures statewide, which easily surpassed the overall threshold. However, it only met the required totals in 24 of Utah's 29 Senate districts, missing the 26th district minimum. Now, Proposition 4, of course, passed by the voters in 2018, had established an independent redistricting commission to prevent partisan gerrymandering. Now, after lawmakers bypassed the commission in 2020 to draw their own congressional boundaries, a prolonged legal battle ensued, and a judge just recently approved a new map that was drafted under Prop 4 standards for the 2026 election. Now, Elizabeth Rasmussen, executive director of Better Boundaries, celebrated the initiative's failure as a win for voters, but she warned that lawmakers in the state may attempt to dismantle the commission again through a future constitutional amendment. Well, we're going to continue to enjoy this beautiful weather through the weekend, as temperatures today have been in the mid-60s. Tonight, we'll see overnight temps drop into the mid-30s, and then tomorrow and Sunday, it's going to get really nice. Sunny skies, temperatures eventually going to be around 74 to finish off the weekend before we'll see that chance of showers returning for the first of next week. And weather this hour brought to you by Mountain Valley Heating and Air. They can improve the air quality in your home with a steam humidifier. It's really easy. All you got to do is give them a call for a free in-home air quality assessment. 753-5170. I'll have another check of local news coming up at the top of the hour after ABC News. I'm Will Feelright with KVNU News. More of KVNU's For the People show next with Jason Williams.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Another restriction on abortion access after the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in Louisiana temporarily blocked mailing prescriptions of mifepristone, a common abortion medication, as President Trump's FDA says it's reviewing the drug's safety. The Pentagon says it will withdraw about 5,000 U.S. troops from Germany over the next year, as President Trump's criticized Germany and other European countries for not getting involved in the U.S. war in Iran. In Florida, the president told a crowd that while oil prices are higher,
we're in a war because I think you would agree we cannot let lunatics have a nuclear weapon. Do you agree?
But in a letter to Congress hours earlier, his administration said the military action was terminated, as today's the day the president must stop using military force without congressional authorization. And the Wall Street Journal reports that Spirit Airlines is preparing to cease operations, as President Trump said he's still considering a bailout.
You can cut your
this is
Rocky
ABC
Mountain
News.
Power bill by 40 to 50% without a single solar panel. With the new time of use rates, power is 4.5 times more expensive in the evening, but cheap during the day. At Greenbox Solar, we install smart home batteries that charge up when electricity is cheap, then power your home during peak hours. Solar is totally optional and can be added in the future, but savings are guaranteed. Drop by Greenbox Solar's showroom in South Logan to see the hardware for yourself. Visit our website at poweredbygreenbox.com.
Bringing Wall Street to Main Street. From your local experts in downtown Logan, this is the Adams Wealth Advisors Market Report.
From ABC News, Wall Street now. Despite the war in Iran and economic uncertainty, Wall Street saw its best month last month since April of 2020. The S&P added more than 10%. The Nasdaq rose more than 15%. Markets ended Friday mixed thanks to easing oil prices and some positive profit reports. The Dow lost 152 points, but the Nasdaq gained 222. The S&P rose 21. Apple rallied 3% after reporting stronger profit and revenue for the latest quarter than expected. Estee Lauder also up 3% for the same reason, pointing to strong growth in China as it raised its upcoming financial forecasts. The price for a barrel of Brent crude fell by 2%, settling at $108, but Brent was selling for a little more than $70 per barrel before the war began. Automaker shares slipped after President Trump said he'd raise tariffs by 25% on cars and trucks from the European Union. Brian Clark, ABC News.
That's your update from Adams Wealth Advisors, guiding your financial future one day at a time. For personalized help planning yours, reach out to us at 435-752-1702. See you soon, Cache Valley. Advisory services offered through Adams Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. For important disclosures and more information, visit adamswealthadvisors.com.
Make laundry a snap with the large load washers and dryers at Mount Logan Laundry. Rather than 8 to 10 loads at home, get the job done in 1 or 2 with their 55 or 80-pound washers and 80-pound dryers that are perfect for sleeping bags, comforters, and other big items. Mount Logan Laundry has free Wi-Fi and drop-off service, plus they're open until midnight. Mount Logan Laundry really is the cleanest spot in town. Find them at 5th East and 9th North in Logan or in Brigham City on the corner of 1st East and 7th South.
I'm Larry Gelwicks, the Getaway Guru. Join me on the Travel Show every Saturday at 11 a.m., and I'll tell you where to go and how to get there with the best travel deals on the planet, including how to travel more and pay less, free this and free that promotions, and insider secrets on what the airlines, cruise lines, and hotels don't want you to know, along with your call-in travel questions every Saturday, 11 a.m., right here on News Talk 610 KVNU.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Continuing on with our highlights of Governor Cox's monthly news conference. And just a quick reminder again, we will have highlights from the Box Elder County. If speaking of this data center, we will have highlights from the Box Elder County public hearing underway at the Box Elder County Fairgrounds on Tuesday's show. So be sure to tune in for that. But moving on from the data center for now, the governor talked about a lot of things during his monthly news conference this week, but one that everyone was waiting to hear from him on heading into the summer months, just weeks away, water and our current drought situation. The governor's office had made it clear that the Division of Water Resources does consider the state of Utah to be in a current drought situation. But how bad is it, and where does it go from here? Here's what the governor had to say.
Because the reality is that we are facing this year a very serious drought. Right now, 100% of the state of Utah is in drought, and this is something that every Utahn needs to be aware of. We are coming off the warmest winter on record by nearly 3 degrees, which resulted in what many are calling, instead of a snowpack, a no-pack this year. On April 1st, our snowpack measured just 2.7 inches of snow water equivalent, the lowest ever recorded for that date in Utah. For comparison, we would typically have over 14 inches of snow water equivalent at that same time. Now, it's not that we haven't received water. We've actually had a decent water year. It's that it wasn't cold enough for that water to turn into snow and stay in the mountains. Now, just again, for comparison's sake, during the record-breaking winter of 2023, we had over 28 inches of snow water equivalent at that same time. So our snowpack is a little bit like a checking account, and right now that account is essentially empty. That means that in the months ahead, we are relying heavily on our savings, which is our reservoir storage. Reservoirs are what we use, what we depend on for our drinking water, agriculture, healthy ecosystems, and the recreation that defines so much of what people enjoy here in Utah. The good news is that because of strong conservation over the past years and a wet cycle a couple years ago, our reservoirs currently stand at about 72% full, which is actually right around normal for this time of year. So that's great news. The challenge is that we are already about 10% lower than we were at this time last year, and conditions vary significantly across the state. Some reservoirs are doing better than others. These conditions are also impacting, of course, the Great Salt Lake, which is not recovering at the pace that we need it to. Now, while the lake has seen a modest rise this year, it is still far below what we would expect in a healthy water year. The Great Salt Lake, we all know, is essential to our air quality, our economy, and the long-term health of our state. That's why I'm so encouraged to see growing attention and partnership, bipartisanship partnership at the national level. Of course, the president has proposed a $1 billion federal investment to help restore the Great Salt Lake. That proposal recognizes that what we've been saying now for many years, that this is not just a Utah problem, but a national priority. These resources would significantly help increase water flows, restore ecosystems, and address challenges like invasive species and toxic dust. We truly appreciate that partnership because solving a challenge of this scale will require coordination at every level. But even with federal support, the responsibility starts here at home with every one of us. That means continued conservation, whether at the household level, in agriculture, or across industry. Water restrictions are always set at the local level, so they can reflect real conditions on the ground. But we encourage Utahns to stay informed and follow those guidelines strictly. Many of our locals are already implementing much earlier than ever before those water restrictions. So please pay attention to those. And you can learn more or see what applies in your area at drought.utah.gov. Again, saving the Great Salt Lake is not optional, and it will take a sustained effort from all of us. Lastly, I just want to say a little bit as we head into our drier season about wildfires. As a direct result of the water situation, we know that the wildfire season will be especially dangerous this year. Despite recent rains in parts of the state, which we're grateful for, the overall picture is one of dry vegetation and elevated risk. Forecasts from the National Weather Service indicate that above normal temperatures are likely to continue through the summer, and that combination, heat, dryness, and wind, creates the perfect environment for wildfires to ignite and spread incredibly quickly. And the reality is that most of these fires are not caused by lightning or natural events, but the vast majority are caused by human activity. So far this year, Utah has experienced already 115 wildfires, well ahead of normal. More than 84% of those were human caused. That means that the vast majority of these fires are preventable, and we often say that the fire sense is common sense, and so we're begging Utahns everywhere this year to please use your common sense. One small mistake, like dragging a trailer chain, a poorly extinguished campfire, or a spark from target shooting can lead to just devastating consequences. That's why we're asking every Utahn to take personal responsibility when recreating outdoors. Before heading out, make sure your vehicle and equipment are in good condition and are not creating unnecessary risk. Again, if you have a hot car, don't pull on dry grass. There's so many other things we can do to make sure that we're safe. If you're target shooting, be mindful of your surroundings, avoid dry vegetation, and follow all safety guidelines and restrictions. If you're building a campfire, check current conditions, follow local restrictions. We will soon have campfire restrictions through most of Utah. And if you see a wildfire or accidentally start one, call 911 immediately so first responders can act quickly. Early action is often the difference between a small manageable fire and a large destructive one. So with that, again, Utah has always been a state of people who step up. We're proud of our Utahns and the things we're able to accomplish together. Again, whether it's economic outlook, conserving water, or preventing wildfires, we know that we can do all of this together. And with that, I'm happy to take questions.
The governor also, during the news conference, took some questions that I don't think he expected to be having to take. This was because there was a bit of a social media firestorm of conspiracy theories. after word got out that something called Operation Wolverine was taking place, a National Guard training project that the only details anyone could find on this apparently was this had to do with foreign adversaries. This led to some wild rumors on social media, ranging from, this is in response to the fact that we're still in this, kind of boondoggle at this point in Iran, and the fear that that this will generate terrorism and plots on American soil, because that did happen, during the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. So the National Guard is being told to get ready for that. That was one of the social media rumors that went around. Another conspiracy theory was that this had to do with Utah being prepared for civil unrest within our own borders, because the political polarization and the dial is cranked up to 11. That was another one that went around. Well, this all hit kind of a crescendo by 9 a.m. On Thursday, and the governor's news conference started at 10. So he got a question about all of this, all of these conspiracy theories going around. Ooh, sorry about that. Just disconnected my own microphone, fiddling with the cord here. So anyway, the governor responded to these conspiracy theories during the news conference yesterday. Hear what he had to say right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
I'm Jay Sallin, founder of Allen Law. My focus has always been helping families protect what matters most through meaningful estate planning. I've now joined forces with attorney mediator Chris Guyman of the Conflict Resolution Center and seasoned litigator Sam Goebel to form the Allies Law Firm. Whether you're planning ahead, resolving marital conflict, or facing a courtroom battle, we bring strategy, strength, and experience together under one roof. Because when it matters most, you deserve the Allies Law Firm. Call the Allies Law Firm today. We plan, we fight, you win.
Hey there, we'll get you back to the music soon, but quick question. Does your home ever feel a little off? Like one room feels fine, but the next room is too hot or too cold. You might even feel a draft of air. Well, that's not supposed to happen. And that's where Cardall's insulation comes in. Cardall's uses high-performance injection foam insulation that fills in the cracks and gaps, so you have a home that feels more comfortable in every room. And spring is the perfect time to get it done, before that summer heat shows up and your AC starts working overtime. Call Cardall's Insulation at 755-5012. That's 755-5012.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, what is happening in this showdown in the Strait of Hormuz? Gas prices here at home, pretty high, but Trump doesn't seem the least bit worried. Plus, coming up, he's going to be meeting with Xi Jinping of China. It's going to be quite a conversation between those two. We'll talk about that and much more coming up. Monday edition of Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
For the People movie show with Andy Morgan of AndyAtTheMovies.com coming up at 5 o'clock. Got a couple of new films in theaters, a lot coming still, and some box office totals from the spring heading into summer movie season. So, final highlight from the governor's monthly news conference now. This was kind of a funny one, kind of not funny. Social media rumors and conspiracy theories went wild Thursday morning after there was news that the National Guard would be partaking in a training called Operation Wolverine. Sounds scary, right? But what really tipped people over the edge was the subtext on this, as described by the National Guard. Was a training for homeland adversaries, meaning. Yeah, so people read that as, is the National Guard being told to prepare for invasion, for terrorist sleeper cells because of the war in Iran still going on? Is this the state training? This was one of the conspiracy theories that went around, that the state was actually training for political unrest here in Utah because of the political polarization out there. That the National Guard had been ordered to get ready for civil war here in Utah. This all happened Thursday morning around 9 a.m. when it hit its crescendo on social media, the conspiracy theories. The governor's news conference started at 10, so of course he got a question about that. Is this the National Guard being ordered to prepare for civil unrest, even civil war inside of Utah? And the governor had this to say.
Oh no, none of those things. It's us preparing for foreign adversaries and what could and hopefully never happen someday. Look, we do these types of drills often. In fact, once a year we do a drill like this, in which we involve our national partners, our local partners as well. What we're really trying to do is plan for any scenario that is out there, make sure that our communication stays up. I mean, I already mentioned the artificial intelligence stuff, and again, some of the possibilities out there, edge case scenarios, sure, but still possibilities with this type of technology are pretty grim. Their ability to hijack our infrastructure, for example, that's one of the things that we're drilling on, is what happens when we can't control electronically the infrastructure in this state. How do we call out members of the National Guard when their internet doesn't work, when your cell phones don't work? How do we use AM radio or ham radio to contact people and let them know, hey, we need you. We have an adversarial attack happening in the homeland, and so these are really important things. I'm so proud of our Adjutant General and his leadership, General Boyack, his entire team, the thousands of men and women who make up our National Guard. We are renowned across the country for our recruitment. We're ahead. I think we're number one in the country for recruitment. We're ahead of our recruitment goals. We are implementing new technologies and new standards that the military is adopting, and we're really seen as the gold standard when it comes to the drills and the work that we're doing here. So I'm proud of what we're doing. Utah is doing more than our part to protect our country, and every Utahn should be proud of that.
The gas tax holiday be extended and or expanded to be larger than it is, given the high price of fuel? Well,
I think what we've done is the right move. I think and it's a reduction in the gas tax, not just a holiday. And so I'm proud of what the legislature did this year, and I think we've got some really great opportunities moving forward. We can't control what's happening at the international level when it comes to the price of gas, and everybody's feeling it. Every state's going to feel it, and what we really need is movement at the federal level. We've got to get this war over with and get the Strait open as soon as possible. That's the answer.
So no, you would not.
I think what we've done, and again, those reductions are coming, and people are going to feel those, and I think that's helpful. But I think that's the right call. I think what we did is the right call.
Governor,
That final question there from Malahi, gotta love him. He has zero problem just kind of injecting and changing the topic, but it was related because we're talking about military National Guard training for military readiness, things like that, and the energy plays a part in that. And the governor has said that himself, that the Utah needs to build out a bigger energy portfolio in the incident that we do have to deal with some of these things. And the Malahi's just like, gas tax. That, by the way, for those who didn't follow that closely, I don't know why they did it this way. The gas tax reduction, Malahi's right, it is a holiday. It's not permanent. It is reduced. I think the reductions on Utah's gas tax per gallon of gas start July 1st, if I remember correctly, maybe a bit earlier, but then they end at the end of the year. And then The bill that passed during the legislative session said, well, there's now a timeline for the legislature to take a look at this and keep chipping away at it, to keep getting that gas tax down bit by bit by bit, with a goal of eventually having it reduced to nothing more than about 5 cents was the goal stated in the bill. But that's going to take years. So the governor isn't misleading there, saying it's permanent. But as far as the reduction you'll see at the pump this year, it is not permanent. It is just a holiday for the second half of the year. So, I don't know. I just do away with it and find the money elsewhere if that's what you want to do. I don't know why they have to make things complicated, but anyway. All right, that's it for hour one of today's show, but I hope you'll stick around. Coming up in hour two, the For the People movie show with Andy Morgan of AndyAtTheMovies.com. We do have new films in theaters, Devil Wears Prada 2. We'll talk about the public reaction to Michael, the Michael Jackson film. Been in theaters about a week now. Animal Farm and the advanced ticket sales for Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu, setting some advanced ticket sales records. Are people bored, or is this movie really getting that much excitement generated around it? We'll talk about it all in the For the People movie show with Andy Morgan of AndyAtTheMovies.com next here on KVNU.